QRG AJATT Quick Reference Guide.
Hi, how are you? I'm Katsumoto, and today I'm going to basically go through the QRG with you. Welcome to the QRG video, by the way. AJATT Quick Reference Guide video. So I just thought I'd make a video, maybe bring out some things that don't necessarily come out in the text, basically, because I could just read the text out to you, but I don't know how much good that would do, and so basically, there's the AJATT site, and it's it's grown it's pretty large, and it can be, I can definitely imagine it can be hard to see. Okay, so there's a website that you've got all this stuff here, this information, it's nice and everything, but what do I do? Where do I start? I changed the camera position. Do you like that? One thing, I want to make. I feel it's important for you to notice. I kind of, it sounds, I came up with this process, put together this process and a lot of that involved, going against the grain, going against what people were telling me was right, going against prevailing ideas, and so I'm not particularly interested in becoming a prevailing idea myself. I'm not particularly interested in becoming, basically, a set of rules you have to follow. These are just ideas, use them, don't use them, just do what's fun for you ultimately. At the same time, you have that freedom, but you also have the responsibility for the results too, basically, so a lot of people will come and ask me like, hey Katz, I'm not going to learn the kanji, but I'm going to learn Japanese, what do you think? I was like, well, I think you'll be illiterate, but like, what am I supposed to say? I'm like, yeah, please have fun, trust your judgment, trust yourself, and all that good stuff. So here we go. Basically, now we're going to go through the phases of the so-called AJATT method. Fun, really important. It's not really a phase, but it is like the soul, the heart and soul of the project here. And so we got beliefs, immersion, kanji, kana, sentences. Those are the phases, basically. So basically, it's not like with the phase. It's not like it's not like you start on phase and then oh, you're done this phase and you're not doing it anymore. So the phase will continue, just like at a lower kind of at a different pace perhaps than from before, or maybe at entirely the same pace as before. So for example, like beliefs, right? You always want beliefs is just just saying believe this is possible for you, believe this is you. You continue having those beliefs. Within that, you immerse, and as you're immersing, you do kanji, and then as you're doing kanji, you do kana. As you do that, you do sentences, and basically, we're going to talk later about the tools to make this really efficient and fun and easy. Fun is not a phase per se, but without fun, there's as I've talked about on the site before. Without fun, basically, you're left with what? Fear, violence, coercion, so, but fun is more fun and more powerful than all those, and actually getting you to do cool stuff. If you just follow your fun, if you will, how people talk about shortcuts and long cuts. I like to talk about fun cuts. This is the fun cut to Japanese, and the fun cut is usually the shortcut or very close to the shortcut, I find. So anyway, have fun, seriously. Those are you could call the 2 laws of AJATT. 1, have fun. 2, in Japanese, Anyway, next thing is beliefs thing. This is basically, it's almost the kind of stuff you would find in a personal development book, but that stuff is really important actually. People, right now they have incredibly destructive beliefs about Japanese, about by extension Chinese as well, and really languages in general, and their inability to learn them. And this is actually ironically what keeps them down. This isn't just like frou-frou haha Southern California stuff. It's really things like the placebo effect, the Pygmalion effect, reticular activation system, self-fulfilling prophecy. These auto-suggestion. You know, what you believe affects what you're going to do. It's going to affect your results, and so you know, your beliefs come before the actions. They come. So you need to believe that you have a right to Japanese before, of course, you actually know Japanese. Believe you can learn Japanese. Believe you will learn Japanese. Believe it's your destiny to learn Japanese. Believe you already know Japanese. Believe you are Japanese. You know, and that will start to almost like, you know, an automated guidance system will start to direct your behavior. You know, if you believe you are Japanese, you're going to do Japanese things. You're going to do things that will eventually lead to Japanese fluency. That's the deal with that. Okay, so we've got our beliefs down, and you know, so you believe you are Japanese, and so what does the Japanese person do? Well, the Japanese person is surrounded by Japanese things. How do you do that? You know, you're not in Japan, probably. You know, I wasn't in Japan when I was, you know, an AJATT noob, if you will. And so what do? Well, you know, problem solved. We have the technology now. We've got the internet, a series of tubes. We've got the YouTube. Get on the tube, YouTube, stop it. And we've got, you know, these MP3s and the iPods and the iTunes and all these newfangled things. And, you know, basically you can create a microclimate of Japanese around yourself. You can create a bubble of Japanese around yourself, in fact. And, well, ironically, you can also, interesting enough, you can also actually be in Japan and have a bubble of English around yourself and basically not, you know, be in Japan but completely not in Japan kind of thing, but be really quite sealed off from it. So it doesn't matter which country you're in. What matters is, you could call it the 3-foot theory or the 3-meter theory, depending on, you know, your unit preferences. But basically, when you look, it doesn't matter where you are. It just matters. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It matters what's in, you know, within like 3 feet of you. What's going on there? What sounds are there? What symbols are there? That's what counts, basically. That's what the immersion environment is about. But and again, it's not about, remember, fun. So it's not like force, like, oh my gosh, you gotta do this. Like, if it's boring, don't do it. Just pick something that's fun within that. You can do anything and everything in Japanese is good. It's just that, you know, as long as in Japanese, anything's fine. Like, don't, you know, people get like, yeah, but if I only do anime, I'll talk like a girl. Like, first of all, what's wrong with talking like a girl, really? You know, I bet your mom's a girl, you know? I found out late in life that my mom was actually a woman, you know, so I'm half woman, you know, like on my mother's side. That's funnier than you think it is when you think about it. But anyway, so don't think too much about it. Just have fun, seriously. Have fun. Let's talk about the kanji. The kanji phase is really simple. There's this really cool guy called James Heisig, who developed a system, a really simple system, really cool system, you know, to help, you know, people like you and me who didn't grow up necessarily in kanji using societies, to help you and me become kanji princes, dude, you know, like really amazing at kanji, you know, is the basic idea. And we'll talk more about it later, how to use the book, how that works, but it's really cool. Like, for many people, kanji was an intimidating part of Japanese before, but you know, many people going forward from now on, you know, myself included, kanji is and kanji is going to be your strength, really, you know. You're going to own at kanji, let me just say that. It's really exciting. Anyway, and the next phase is the Kana phase. Why Kana after kanji? No real reason. It's just that in James Heisig's book, Remembering the Kana, he assumes a knowledge of kanji, and actually, Kana actually a special form of kanji. If you were to, Kana actually is a special case of kanji. But whatever, it doesn't matter what. If you can permute the order if you want. You know, it's up to you. I don't care. It's not like I'm not going to be there like, hey, are you doing this right? See what I said? That's not going to happen. So the most famous part of AJATT, maybe, or at least initially the most famous part, and it was definitely the part I promoted the most when I first started AJATT, to the point that a lot of people call AJATT the 10,000 sentences method. So it is the sentences phase. For me, AJATT wasn't, and it is, and I think for you too, it will be about the fun, really. It really was about the immersion part. That's the site's called alljapaneseallthetime.com, not allsentencesallthetime.com. The sentences are a powerful tool within that. But the reason I focused on the sentence thing and not even the fun thing, and not even, and even though I talk, about, the psychology part, the beliefs, the mental tools, the philosophy part, the sentences were easy to focus on because it's something tangible you can work towards, and so it's fun. But I think a lot of people forget to treat it, neglect to treat it like a game, or they just get very serious about it, and it becomes a burden rather than a tool, and that's unfortunate. So, but like I said, I did focus on it because it's very it's tangible. You can get your teeth, you can sink your teeth into it, really. Anyway, the sentences phase. It's the most, at one point at least, it was the most famous part of AJATT, and it's still a very powerful tool. I continue to use them. It's actually an idea that came from a site called antimoon.com. A bunch of Polish guys learned English, became really amazing at English using these ideas. A bit about the phases. A lot of people, they want to go, oh, they hear phase and they're like, oh, should I be doing this? What should I be doing? And like, can I do this here and this here? And it's like, like I said, I'm not trying to be like, Mr. Schoolmaster to you. If I am, I'm a very bad one. I'm not kind of like, I've got this like it's kind of like this like beard that isn't quite rugged enough to be contiguous, but you know what I mean, like, I'm not here to like give you like rules and everything. So at the same time, I will say this: like, for your own sanity, focus on the phase you're on. Just chill. Like, there's no rush. Which is funny because I will say things like every moment you can spend in Japanese, do spend in Japanese. I'm not that's a good thing, and that's what I did. But it's not. At the same time, if you get worked up about it, then it leads to stress, and of course, some research is showing that stress leads to the release of certain enzymes that actually impair short-term memory, which of course, and short-term memory of course is the entry point to long-term memory. And basically, stress makes you stupid type thing. So we don't want stress. Stress, it's not going to help you to get stressed up at all. And I read somewhere, I think once, the definition of stress is trying to make two things important at the same time. And so the key is to just relax and just focus on the phase you're on, be happy. And it's not a phase. I get the problem with phase that it gives a sense of something to get through. It's like, boy, I can't wait to just get out of here and just outgrow this type of thing. And that's not the case. Just enjoy where you are. It's fun. Wherever you are, it's fun. Wherever you are is the right place to be. That type of thing. Wherever you are is the right place to be. Very, very hippie-ish. Anyway, one thing I'd like to say, in addition to the focus on the phase you're on thing, is definitely, move, don't rush, I'd say that. Move, but there's a difference between rushing is when you're stressed out, but just move, like, keep going forward, keep pushing forward. It doesn't matter what speed you're going at. Although, sure, the faster you go, the better. But if you go so fast that you kill your ability to move at all, like if you let's say something with the kanji phase. A lot of people try to do 100 kanji a day, and some people are fine with that. But I tried that, and it didn't work for me at all. And I found doing 25 kanji a day was my ceiling, regardless of how much time I had that day. And so, but if I tried to 100 one day, I'd be so wasted. I'd be just so wasted that I would spend, I need 4 or 5 days to recover, and so 4 or 5 days where I just couldn't do anything, maybe in a week, and it would just knock me out. So the tortoise beat the hare type thing, Of course, if you can be a hare and keep running the whole time, to do that, do that, but don't go like high blood pressure and type A about it. Which brings me to a good topic: time usage. Can you do this all Japanese all the time thing? So, 18, 24 hours a day Japanese, I don't have that type of time. And, well, it's not so much, it's not that the time is just there like lying fallow, it's that you take it. you take it, and whenever it's not like you're studying the whole time. It's just you're if you're listening to music, listen to Japanese music. If you're if you're gonna watch TV, watch Japanese TV. That's the idea basically. And so a lot of it is filling dead time, or if you're gonna walk somewhere, listen to Japanese while walking, that type thing. That's the basic idea. Yeah, and so like we talk about in the QRG, it's like pedaling versus coasting. So most of your time, pedaling takes energy. The idea with pedaling time is it's the time where you're really doing high energy activities. It's really it's like the kind of thing that people that call study, that looks like study. That's that's really focused. But then I think one of the most powerful things actually about this whole AJATT thing is the coasting aspect. Is the first of all the fact that you can coast. This isn't I think there are many fields of practice where it's not necessarily possible to coast, but with language definitely you can coast, and you can just be chilling, having music in the background, while you eat dinner with your family or whatever, have a Japanese something playing, something in Japanese playing, and and that counts, and it adds up. The time really adds up. So coast as much as you can, find that dead time and use it to coast. And of course pedal when you can, but like that pedaling time, that highly focused time, that's going to be, I don't know, like something, the order of most people, 90 minutes a day maybe is like many people's limit, I guess. But the rest of the time, just you can coast. The time is there if you look for it. It's there. Yes, so this is actually a Q-tip. Anyway, right now, what I'm going to talk to you about is basically beliefs. In the QRG itself, my advice was go read the entire belief section of the AJATT website. It's kind of long. Basically, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be lazy. I've got a list of those articles here, and I'm just going to go down the list and just hit some of the ideas basically. So yeah, that's the plan. You like this shirt? You like this Q-tip? I do too. Okay, here we go. How to accomplish great things, small victories, winnable games. Basically what I talk about there is I talk about just reflections on my personal experience when I was in college, where I worked as a custodian, basically a janitor in college for a while, and I'm old. I did something cooler afterwards, I promise. Anyway, I did that for a while, but I realized I was cleaning the school's buildings, but I wasn't cleaning my own room, and I was like, what's the deal with that? And so based on reflections from my experience, what I talk about is how basically you need to turn things into small winnable games. Just the whole the actual enterprise of I'm going to acquire a language is long, and if you don't get to win until you're amazing at Japanese, then basically you're losing the entire time before that. What you want to do is just make every little thing a game that you can win really easily. Our brain likes that. We like to win, and so it needs to be short. Using things like time boxing, things like that, basically. Here, aim to fail. What I talk about there is, this is really interesting statistic, actually, one of the most amazing statistics in all of sports, which is that, of course, Babe Ruth at one point held the home run record, but at the same time he also held the strikeout record, which means he was failing the most. And so, basically, what you want to do is, it connects with the small victories thing, it's winnable games. Make some kind of game where it's really cheap to fail, and where you can fail thousands and thousands and thousands of times, maybe even 100,000 times. Well, maybe you can try 100,000 times, and even if you fail 10,000 times, it's like, oh, whatever. And in a sense, the SRS is something like that, in that you do, in my case, I've got now, the statistics have changed since the article, but now I have about 13,000 flashcards of Japanese sentences and I've done on which I've done about almost just under 60,000 repetitions. But I have a retention rate of about 91%, which means I failed, let's just call it, I failed 10%. So I failed 6,000 times, which is actually more times than there are stars, you know, visible to the naked eye, you know, in the sky. So, you know, in coming to the point where, you know, I have this bookshelf. It's a really small bookshelf considering how much I read, which I'll talk about later. I get to read a lot, but keep a small bookshelf too. I'm kind of proud of that. Anyway, sorry, but like, given that, you know, I've come to a stage where, you know, I read Japanese as if it were my native language. It's what's interesting is that, you know, in getting to that point, I have failed to read, you know, a sentence correctly at least 6,000 times. You know, that's how many failures there are in my SRS thing. And if you count my previous SRS experience, maybe it's, you know, at least 10,000 times. So anyway, that's the aim to fail thing. Basically, failure is your friend. You know, turn failure into a useful thing, because each failure can give you is a form of feedback you can use to improve. Now, there is one situation actually where you want to avoid failure, at least the way we do it, and that's with, you know, the input over output thing, which I'm not going to go into any detail about here, unfortunately, in the QRG video. But basically, the idea is you need to spend time observing Japanese, taking in the input, listening, reading it, before you you know, output it. You know, you don't, and when you do output, say things that you know are correct, basically, or you're pretty sure correct. That's the basic idea with the input thing. Anyway, like I said, it gets pretty involved, and I don't want you to get like caught up with all the exceptions. But the basic idea of, you know, aim to fail is sound. Fail is something useful. Anyway, in Cute Girls Mathematics Language, over there I talk about basically that, you know, we as adults are kind of quite arrogant. You know, we're always telling kids, oh, you know, be patient. We're always making fun of kids for their short attention spans. But actually, you know, we're the ones trying to get, you know, basically like adult, you know, like native level skill in a language with an order of magnitude less time investment than you know, than even a 4-year-old has put into, let's say the native language Japanese. Then, so an order of magnitude less time than a typical 4-year-old has put. A typical Japanese 4-year-old has put into Japanese. And so, I mean, I think, so what I'm saying there is, look, you know, it does take time, and it's worth the time, but like, don't invest the time. You know, it's like, and you seriously and you need to like seriously count the time. It's not, and when I talk about time, I'm not talking about the number of years that Japanese has been, like, you know, on your radar, like as a goal or whatever. I'm talking about the physical number of hours you've spent on it, and, you know, that's hours per day. That counts hours and minutes per day you spent, you know, listening to Japanese or reading Japanese or somehow in contact with the Japanese language. In the African way of learning, just do it. I basically talk about how, well, there's basically in many, you could think of it this way: there are societies, many societies are industrialized, but there are two types of industrialization. There's physical industrialization and there's psychological industrialization. And in psychologically industrialized societies, you might say there's been a tendency towards, I don't know, over-analysis. I mean, you know, we're kind of getting to muddy territory because this is like sociology, and we're kind of like, anyway, but the idea in the African way of learning, basically what I'm saying is, you know, just chill, just do it, stop, don't overanalyze. You know, it's more as I've said in another article, like it's more like a martial art, like a sport. It's just, yeah, just do it. You know, enjoy yourself. Just stop thinking about Japanese and just do Japanese, you know, just be Japanese. Don't, yeah, that's the basic idea. I mean, it's so simple, but I hope that comes across. Anyway, 10,000 hours building listening comprehension. That's really easy, you know. Spend 10,000 hours listening to Japanese. And again, ironically, I would, even though, yeah, 10,000 hours is your goal, but actually, again, making 10,000 hours this thing to reach for 10,000 hours is kind of, what's the word? That can be kind of painful. That struggle, because there are only 24 hours in a day max, right? So, like, every day you only like add what maximum 24 hours to that, and probably less since you have other stuff to do. So maybe I don't know, like maybe 16 hours to that. I'm counting sleeping time too, but like, so I wouldn't think the way I think of it would be more. What would I say? I wouldn't think of the 10,000 hours too much in that. I wouldn't have it so much as a goal. Let me say that. I would have it more as a reality check. Like every time you feel, oh man, I suck, man, I suck, you can just be like, well, have I spent 10,000 hours listening Japanese? And if the answer is no, which it probably will be for a lot of the time, then you can be like, oh, well, of course I still suck my, of course I still suck when my stats still suck. If your stats still suck, then, you've got nothing to complain about still. Desires and decisions, I wrote that a long time ago. It's pretty old school. Basically I say like, a lot of people want to know Japanese, but it's not really about just wanting to know, it's just deciding to know. It's like, wait, I know this is what we're doing, and it's more like, instead of like, I want to know, but it's like, I want to know, and anything that gets in my way, is going to get swept up, That's the basic difference between a desire and decision, as discussed here. You like how like every time someone writes a personal development book, they always like redefine these words. But so just in the context of this article, you can have do or be anything, but you can't have do or be everything. Like it sounds pretty negative, but but the idea there is like basically like everything has a price, but that's also a good thing because everything can be paid for. So including in Japanese, it's paid for in kind of like in direct, more or less like in time and attention is how you buy knowledge of Japanese. And so it's basically just like you can't do it. It'll take that. There might be some choices to make, but you can't do it. Is the basic idea there. Showing up, basically take that. I think that famous Woody Allen quote of the exact numbers escape me, and I get different numbers wherever I look up that quote, but I know they said it was 70% of showing up is winning or 90% of showing up is winning, but I went and said 100% of showing up is winning. And the reason for that is because when you do just, people say, oh, showing up is just showing up. But when you show up, for example, when you simply have, how do you show up to Japanese, let's say? You show up to Japanese by, let's say you only have Japanese books to read, as I do on my shelves. Basically, I have like one English book. I think I have like 3 or 4 English books, but like one that's visible, and a couple of those other books are written by family members, so they don't count. You keep your family members' books, but everything else is whatever. Anyway, but you show up. What happens when you show up to Japanese by, let's say, you're only having Japanese books to read, essentially, or only having Japanese music to listen to, and so you show up simply by being there, simply by being in a position where you're only listening to Japanese, or where there is only Japanese to listen to, and therefore that's what you're listening to, or there is only Japanese to read, and therefore that's what you're reading. So that's how you show up. Okay, so you've shown up, and what good has that done? Well, what that's done is it's made it easier to become better Japanese than to not become better Japanese, and that's a big difference. It's tiny, but a big difference. You've really tipped the scales over in that sense. And sorry for the tap. Anyway, but you've tipped the scales over. And as Jim Rohn once said, the things that are easy to do are easy not to do. This whole enterprise of like acquiring a language is really very easy. It's really very simple. I imagine. I don't know that there's much that I'm telling you in this video, in this series, in this guide, the actual QRG guide on the website. I don't know that there's much that I'm telling you that is really completely like out from outer space, like totally revolutionary. What I think what I'm doing for many of you, who are watching, for you who are watching this, what I think it comes down to is a lot of it is confirmation. I'm really confirming some ideas you may have had before, because I was like crazy enough to go ahead and like try them out. and so other things are easy to or easy not to do. So this whole thing is, yeah, it's very simple. It's easy, you know. It's easy, but it's just a matter of doing it. And so what it comes down to, I said recently on one of my Twitter posts, you know, I think where we who are interested in like acquiring languages, I think where we need to focus isn't so much on, you know, cognitive science really so much as we think it is. Everyone right now is quite interested in the brain, and for good reason. You know, the brain's pretty, you know, important and stuff. But like, I think a field of study of an area of techniques that would be more directly applicable, that would be more directly useful to people trying to acquire language right now would actually be behaviorism. If you can study human behavior, and not just human behavior in general, but really your behavior, or through studying human behavior in general, look at your behavior and how you can shape your behavior in a way that brings you closer to a goal. Because, like I said, the thing, like Immersion said, the things that are easy to or easy not to do, you can look at human behavior, and if you can look at human behavior and use some of those things, then I think you can find ways to do great stuff. Basically, is the basic idea. Okay, in propaganda, what I talked about actually interesting. Like, you know, it's nice to be in a country where you can say what you want, but actually, in your own life, you don't necessarily want to say. You don't necessarily want to let in every idea that's out there. You don't want at the individual level. You don't want to be a democracy, even though at the societal level you may want to live in one. You want censorship and media control in your own life, because there are many like negative ideas out there. You know, like and you don't want them. You want productive ideas. You want ideas that help you get better. So that's what the propaganda thing. That's what the propaganda article is about. It's just saying basically, like, you know, it's okay to not be open-minded. I know that sounds terrible, you know, and you know, I think a lot of people get the impression, maybe I predict the image, a lot of people get the impression, for example, that I'm open-minded, but I'm really not. I just don't care what other people do. It's like that's because that's their thing. But when it comes to my life, like for example, there are lots of TV shows that I just won't watch. I think they make us stupid, you know. Like I think there are many people not watching TV because they feel it's making them stupid. Well, in a sense, they are practicing censorship in their own lives. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like choose the ideas that come into your life, you know. You know, use that as you, and I leave the rest to your judgment. You know, you run the little country that is you, basically the little dictatorship that is you. Classes suck. Not much more to say about them than that classes suck, and they really do. With all respect to my teachers, all the language teachers I've ever had, fundamentally, I'm sure there are exceptions, but they are like needles in the proverbial Q-tip stack. Not funny. But classes suck, dude. If classes are so good, then people who did well in classes, and even people who only kind of, you know, thinking through models for classes I wouldn't. If classes didn't suck, I wouldn't be making this website. You wouldn't be watching this video. They do suck. What more can one say? No fun, no good. You must enjoy learning Japanese. Yeah, fun. Language is acting. Basically, it comes again to the believing you are Japanese, and that can lead you to, that starts leading you to act in Japanese ways, and that. So, you know, a lot of people think, like, let's say, knowing Japanese is the cause of acting Japanese, but actually acting is the cause of. No, a lot of people think, yeah, knowing Japanese is the cause of acting Japanese, and it is, but actually, it's also the effect. Acting Japanese is the cause of knowing Japanese is the cause of acting Japanese. So it's kind of a circular causation, if you will. Language is like a video game. Yeah. Language like, I'll leave it at that. Skip over that. Stop mystifying Japanese. Yeah, you know, well, you know, a lot of people have, again, the whole like negative ideas about Japanese, like all these crazy things that people say, like acting like it's not a human language. I don't know, you know, it's like, it can seem kind of nice, but actually some of it's frankly like slightly racist. It's like, you know, it's like those crazy homogenous dark-haired Asian people, you know, like, you know, it's a human language by stupid people in Japan know Japanese. Like it's a human language spoken by regular human beings. So it's cool. I love Japanese. My whole bookshelf's in it. But like it is a language spoken by human beings with like vocal cords. Like it's not. Yeah, like sometimes on the internet I see the word moonspeak used to describe Japanese. I think that's offensive. Well, beyond being offensive, it's just like it's just not very productive. It's just a language, chill, like and stop. Like it's just a language. It's just a language. You like how I repeat myself? There was a time when that's where I talk about how I think as time has gone on, these past few years doing this website, I've gotten a reputation for being like, a bit of a stud at Japanese at least, and so that can lead people to maybe like idolize me sounds arrogant, but at least like treat me like an outlier, and I don't, and that's not the case. I'm just a painfully normal person at best, so, and I sucked too, and I was a beginner too very recently, not long ago, and so, I think there was a time when everyone starts somewhere, every legend has a beginning, that type of thing. What it takes to be great, basically I just covered there's some interesting articles online that talked about what it took to be great, and some of those articles and whatnot, one of them got turned into a book called Talent is Overrated, which is a pretty sweet book. So now I'm just going to go into the action steps for immersion. It's really simple. There's a list. It's there in the QRG that you actually have. And well, basically, there's a link to some YouTube videos to get you started. It's called, I think, the AJATT Immersion Starter Playlist or something to that effect. It's not a long list, but the cool thing about YouTube is, it links to other related videos. So starting from that list, you can then go and build up basically stuff. Build up playlists, build up favorites, build up a collection of your own of cool stuff on YouTube. I think it's a good course to start with. There's music, there's comedy, and a bunch of good stuff. The next thing, you can go to the AJATT store, and there you can buy Japanese dubbed American TV shows. You can get your pretty much most of your favorite American TV shows are dubbed into Japanese. You can get those. Japanese music, again, there's a list of bands linked to bands that I recommend. My musical tastes are a bit skewed, but anyway, yeah, that's what you get, and and the thing to do is just to have this Japanese media surrounding you all the time. It's just to have that be your reality. It's not so much that you're even like quote unquote doing Japanese as such. It's just it's there. The Japanese is what's there. Another cool thing would be to change your surroundings. I have a whole article of things you can do there. The food you eat. Oh yeah, you can get chopsticks. Try sitting on the floor. Like that. Yay, floor sitting, and cool stuff like that. And you can have Japanese newspapers on your wall. I actually have. You want to see my room? I have newspapers on my wall. These are in Chinese, but you get the point. Is that camera stable now? And the next thing you want to do is just have a habit of frequently getting more media. You want to put it in simple numerical terms. Think of a movie a day. So you want to be getting a new Japanese movie every day. So for many people that's going to be, well, either you you know, you can get maybe I don't know, you can get Japanese cable in your area, or you can, you know, there's YouTube, there's you can rent videos. So that's about the pace that you'd want to be going at. I'm moving. And the next thing really is just preparation for the next stage, which is just to get a copy of the book Remembering the Kanji, and look at those introductory sections where he explains, where basically Dr. Heisig explains like what the deal is with remembering the kanji, why you're learning why you're learning basically, you know, the meaning and writing of kanji as opposed to pronunciation. So he explains the whole. I'm not going to go and explain that to you because it's there. You know, he explained why it's, and so really well. So yeah, so you can go check that out. Okay. And that's the basic immersion action list. And of course, this immersion process is it's one of the it's one of the after beliefs. It's one of the phases. But of course, you know, you don't stop believing in yourself, and you don't stop immersing. So you're going to be immersing the whole time. It's something that's ongoing. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, it's ongoing all the time. And that's it. Yeah, yeah. I'm eating raisins. Okay. Different shirt. Okay, one thing I want to address really quickly is kind of the catch-22 you get, you find yourself in, where, you know, I'm like, you're immersing, right? And so you're immersing, but you don't understand anything, and surely, you know, how can you be learning something if you don't understand? Well, 3 points. First, understanding at some level, at the most basic, the most fundamental level is actually I think more. I may be wrong, but I think it's more physical and intellectual. It's like a sport. It's like a martial art. And so simply exposing your ears and your eyes to the language you're trying to learn, to Japanese, will do things for you. It's a very valid exercise. I said this once on the site before, but it warrants saying again. People who are good at something aren't actually good at something. They're just used to it. So you want to get used to Japanese, and the way you're going to get used to Japanese is by having it, you know, in your life to that extent. So don't worry about listening before you understand. It's okay. I mean, yeah, sure, you want to watch stuff you can understand, but if you can, but there's going to be so much you don't understand, and that's just natural. That's just the way it is. The one thing I would say is just make sure you have fun always. Fun trumps everything else. I kid you not. It's not. I'm not joking. I'm serious. Fun trumps everything else. If you're not having fun, it's not going to happen. You can be like, oh, no pain, no gain, da da da. You know, if do as you ought, not as you please, type thing. But it's not going to work. Oh, look, my time box thing. The second thing. So I said 3 things. I'm going to get to the point. 3 things. The second thing is, well, let's see the about how many? Let me count. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, exactly. 4 stages. 4 or 5 stages. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stages of comprehension. First, everything's just gibberish, indistinguishable sounds. Blah, 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 what are they saying? Then suddenly it's gibberish with intermittent comprehensible phrases. It's like da 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 arigato, da 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 da, sumimasen. Like, and then you get and then over time this gibberish with intermittent comprehensible phrases turns into comprehensible stuff with just intermittent gibberish. Just like, so you understand most of it, but there's a bit of gibberish. It's like ということで blah 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 blah. Anyway, if that makes any sense. I'm doing this very well on the fly. And then finally you get to, you know, basically full comprehension. So gibberish with some stuff you understand, to stuff you understand with a little gibberish, to just full comprehension. That's the second point. And the third and final point, with listening, you know, listening before you understand, is that in a lot of cases the context is the explanation. When someone says, you know, when there's a burning building and someone's yelling out the building, typically they're not saying like, hey, what's on channel 12 right now? You know, they're going to be like, let's get there, and you're going to be like, hey, that probably means help, you know, probably. I mean, of course, if it's comedy, they're going to maybe break those rules. But, you know, generally, the context really is the explanation. And this is how you learned your so-called native language as well. So, you know, most things you weren't told explicitly, you just pick them up from context. And yeah, that's the deal with that. Okay, next thing we're going to go into is your action steps for kanji. So previously, at the end of your immersion action steps, you got a copy of Remembering the Kanji by James Heisig. Now, while continuing that immersion, and of course within that continuing to believe that, you know, you are Japanese, you own Japanese, it's your birthright, you know. Within that, continuing with that, what I want you to do now is go. I want you to do. I don't know. You can not do it if you want, but what you want to do now is one is get an SRS. There are plenty out there. There's Anki, there's Mnemosiny, there's Surusu, which you know, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. Anki is the most popular out there right now. It's got both online and offline. Mnemosiny is very simple and offline only right now, and Surusu is also very simple and online only. I use Surusu myself. I made it, you know, ultimately for myself, and of course other people can use it too. I like it, but you know, whatever. I'm biased. I'm completely biased. So use whichever you want. It doesn't actually matter which SRS you use ultimately. It just matters that you use one. I think is the Katsumoto conclusion. Okay, and then the next thing you want to do is get a kanji data file. These steps are in the QRG itself, by the way, so you can fast forward this part or whatever. It's just, because I don't know, it's not like you know, even if I had to be here on the video showing you, it's not, I don't know, it doesn't, you know, it's not like you can act on it now, so it's better with a QRG. It has, you know, links to exactly where you want to get your stuff. So next thing is to get your kanji data file. Okay, then you have a copy of the RTK Remembering the Kanji book. I don't have one with me because I know my kanji now. So, but so you know, what you want to do is, like, you know, step one is, you know, read the kanji story, and then you write out the kanji once or twice by hand. That's more than enough. Once or twice is more than enough. Early on, yeah, you can write out more times to get, you know, writing practice, but really you don't need to write it out more than once to remember it. More than once each practice section to remember it. That's my time box. Time boxing, maybe. Okay, and then for each kanji you want to make an SRS card. And I'm going to talk about the format for that. And during SRS reviews, you're showing the front of the card, and your task is basically to write out the kanji that's on the back of the card from memory. And then you score yourself according to a scale, to which I have a link to. Basically, I'm going from memory here, but the scale basically is like 0. The scale on Mnemosiny and Surusu, I believe, is the same. It goes 0 through 5, 0 being a blank, 1 being completely wrong, 2 being partially wrong, 3 being just right, 4 being good, and 5 being piece of cake. Yeah, that's the scale. It applies to everything. It's very general. Okay, where are we? Where are we even putting these papers? And yeah, let me show you now. I've got actually an example card, example kanji card. I'm actually going to show you one right now. I don't know if maybe we'll have something coming here on the screen, but actually that's really annoying to do. So I'll just show you what I have right here in front of you. You can see this kanji card. I don't know if you can see that well enough. So you can see on the front you have the keyword mnemonic story, and on the back you have the actual character. So this is in your SRS, shown the front, you produce the back basically. That's a really simple one. So I'll show you another one. I shall show you another one. Here's the example number 2. Exhibit B, example number 2. Here is another kanji card. In the front you can see again you have the keyword and the mnemonic story. And I like this story. The crotch of a woman is something which is interesting to most guys. Yeah. And the back is an actual kanji character. Wow. And so yeah, given this keyword and story, you write the character from the back. Now, you know, some people, I'm itchy, I'm scratching. Some people come unto me, and they're all, dude, Katsumoto, dude, what the heck, like, having the story on the front, isn't that cheating? Actually, it's not. Trust me? Trust me. Try it. It's actually not. It is actually a test of memory, and it is actually valid. You know, this is a kind of a trivial example, but try showing the front of the card to one of your friends who doesn't know kanji at all, and see whether they can produce the kanji on the back. You know, it's not as trivial as you think. It's actually, and it's just right. Like the thing with SRS reps. Oh, I got this really cool book. I'll show you. I'm all plugging books here too. I don't know if you necessarily want to buy this book. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it is a really cool book. It's called 1分間勉強法, the 1-minute study method. And in it, like, actually, he says something really cool. I don't know if you can see it here. Blah blah, blah blah, blah blah. But he said something that I thought was really cool. He said, you know, what you want. I'll show you closer. What you want, basically is to divide your studying into small chunks, which you repeat a lot. What does that have to do with kanji? I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, the thing is, SRS cards, you want them to be like just small. SRS cards, you want them to be small and almost too easy. Not so easy it's boring, but definitely not hard. Like just outside there, you know. Like if I'm going off on a tangent here, but for example, there's a type of SRS card called a closed deletion, where it's basically like a blank. So basically, you'll have like you know a tiny sentence or a passage, and then one blank. You like blank out like one or maybe 2 words or something. Whatever, you know. You'll blank out one tiny section, and then the answer, basically your task with the answer is to produce that blanked out section. And you think, oh, what's that? That's a piece of cake. But you do this, and it's actually quite. It's fun and it's small, but it is actually a test. It's just enough, you know, I+1 if you want to call it that, just enough of a challenge. More time boxing. Okay, where was I? Let me put this book back. And that's basically the idea with kanji. We're done with kanji. Boom. The next thing is to talk about kana. The next thing is to talk about kana. Talk about kana, really do the kana. I mean, now we're doing the kana. As I mentioned before, like, it's a long time ago in this video, as far as this video is concerned, but I mentioned, like, you know, why are you doing the kana after the kanji? Well, no particular reason, other than that if you use a high 6 book remembering the kana, it kind of assumes a knowledge of kanji, therefore it's either that way. But you could do the kana first if you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to come to your house and be like, so dude, why are you doing the kana first? What's up with that? I said, you know, that's not how it works. You make your own decisions, do what you want. That's the cool thing about learning alone. The whole thing, all this AJATT business is not to follow my instructions. It's to it's to, what is it? What is the point of this whole thing? It's to see what I've done and see what's good from that you can take and that's fun for you, and leave the rest. If you had to do everything that I said exactly the way I say it, then there's no difference between me and us, forced schooling, basically, and that's not what I want. Certainly, it's not what you want. And yeah, anyway, soapbox off. So Kana. So you want a copy of Remembering the Kana, and you might, if you want, this is completely optional, but there are these Jimmy Kana books. There are links to them again in the actual QRG. The thing is, this is actually an example of what John Beesnecker likes to call the tyranny of a single source of information. Actually, it's the opposite of that. Of course, you don't. Too many sources of information, I guess, can get annoying. But like I said, when I was an AJATT noob, an AJATT beginner, and novice, I did use multiple sources. So I don't know. I think that there might be some value in that. What I liked anyway about the Jimmy Kana books is they're much more. Of all the Kana books I'd seen geared towards foreigners, they were the ones that had the most realistic handwriting. I find a lot of Kana books that they'll show you the Kana and it's good, but it's like it's print Kana, and like how no one physically writes in over Arial font. No one physically writes in Times New Roman, with like serif and everything. It's like, not that the Kana fonts have serifs, but it's unnatural. The Jimmy books were just more natural handwriting. That's why I like them. You like that long-winded explanation? Anyway. Okay, then you make a new SRS deck or category or whatever, and you make your Kana SRS cards, and you do the same SRS steps as with Kanji, and the rules are the same. 0 is blank, 1 is completely wrong, 2 is slightly wrong, 3 is just right, 4 is good, and 5 is piece of cake. That is the SRS scale, the 0 to 5 scale. And I'm going to show you now a Kana card, a Kana example card. Here we go. Wow. As you can see on the top up here, boom, we have the front, and on the back we have the back. at the bottom we have the back. The front is the pronunciation of the Kana. You can have that in either a Roman script, or even better would be an audio sample if you can get it, but don't stress out about trying to get things like that. And on the back you have the actual Kana character. And given the front, you write the back out from memory in this case, just as with the Kanji cards. Kanji cards. Anyway, and that's the deal with Kana. Okay, and we're back. My timer's gonna go off in the middle of this, so chill, Lola. I'm just going to reset it. So now we're going to talk about what are we going to talk about? You tell me. We're going to talk about sentences. And this is the sentence section. A part of AJATT that became quite famous, and perhaps rightly so. Of course, it's thanks to Antimo. This idea of the sentence card. I remember when I first saw that on Antimo, I was like, dude, just reading sentences, you're not gonna learn anything from that. You need tests, and it needs to be hard and painful. I was a bit of a masochist. You can ask people who knew me in college. I was a masochist, but I thought I needed to be one to do well. I thought that's what it took, and I realized that wasn't the case. Why are we talking about my college experience again? Oh yeah, sentences. So now, of course, you're believing in yourself, and you think you're amazing, which you are. And you're immersing, and you're doing your Kanji and Kana SRS reps. You keep doing it, even after you've, seen them, once. You've input them all, and you've seen them, at least once. You keep doing it, because it's not like the memory is it is a spaced repetition system, not a spaced see them once and see a system. So for the memory to really solidify, you need to keep doing your search steps. So the first thing is get a starter source of sentences. I will add as a note, not everything, we say sentences, but not everything needs to be a full sentence. Phrases, sentence fragments count too. As Smart Killer on the Internet said, I think, again, it's actually John Biesnecker, very perceptive. He said, your sentences need to be short, just long enough so you have context, but as short as possible within that. Just long enough so you have context and can have meaning, but really, really short. So again, phrases do count. Phrases count. So get yourself a starter source of sentences. You may or may not actually already have it, but there is something you can get on AJATT called My First Sentence Pack. I'm looking directly at the camera. My First Sentence Pack, which is a sentence source for beginners, which people are telling me is amazing. It really is. The cat's whiskers. This is my cat. So I will cut a whisker off my cat. So it is, and so that's something you can use. You get your starter source sentences. That's step one. Step two, in your SRS, you make a new category, a new deck, whatever it's called in your SRS of choice, for sentences. So you have your Kana deck, you have your Kanji deck, you have your Kana deck, and you have your sentences deck, and they're separate. And you could separate them more than that, but too much and it does start to lose value, or too much separation. Too little, again, you lose value. One of my professors I remember in college said something really cool. He said, how much management do you need? And how much scheduling do you need? How much management do you need? And well, is the question. He said the answer is, well, you need as much management as you need, in terms of you need as much scheduling or as much deck splitting as you need. Too little and you're suffering, too much and you're suffering again. So again, don't be like, oh, do I have optimal deck splits? Just chill, just do whatever. If it comes down to, if it's to the point you're worrying about it, just do whatever. So you got your starter source sentences. You've made your, am I even enunciating? You've got your starter source of sentences. You've made your new SRS deck for sentences, and now for your first, about maybe the numbers aren't really exact, but your first 500 or so cards, sentence cards, will be bilingual, using your starter source. And again, you do these SRS reps, you score them as before, where 0 is a blank, 1 is completely wrong, 2 is partially wrong, 3 is just right, 4 is good, it's right, and 5 is piece of cake. So I'm going to show you now some examples of something. There's the time box. I'm going to show you some examples of bilingual sentence cards. Remember, so you start with bilingual sentence cards if you want, but then as soon as possible you move to monolingual sentence cards. How soon? Much sooner than you think. Here is an example of a bilingual sentence card. I've discussed other card formats on AJATT before, but I think, Krispy Kreme, there's still value in original glazed, and you want to keep things simple. You want to keep things short and simple. There are other types of cards you can make that are really, they're great practice and everything, but they all have their disadvantages in terms of costs and management. How long it takes to actually do repetitions. So, original glaze, dude. If in doubt. Here we are, the bilingual sentence card. Let me show you the card. Look, you like this clipboard? Yeah. You love it. Is this even aligned right? I'm like all Japanese TV with the flip cards. Okay, so at the top, can you see at the top you have an actual Japanese sentence. Boom, boom. There we go. Actual Japanese sentence at the top. Hope this is like straight and everything. Sorry. Okay. And at the bottom you have, full or partial Kana readings and the translation. So this says Kosuzo, and there's your Kana readings for that, and it's like, I'm gonna kill you, and is your translation there. So that's why it's bilingual, because it's in 2 languages. And yeah, your task basically is to read and comprehend the sentence. That's it. That's all there is to it. Read and comprehend the sentence. That's your win. As you can see, this is an incredibly short sentence, but Japanese is like that. You can make really short sentences. Look how long it is in English. I'm gonna kill you, but in Japanese it's just korosuzo. Like that. Very healthy. Making videos of death threats. So that is one example of a bilingual sentence card. Let me show you another. I'm sorry about the clipboard thing, but I like I said, maybe I'll put in like proper like images in here, but if it takes long to edit, sorry, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Bilingual sentence card. Example 2. You like that? Again, at the top there, actual Japanese sentence, front and top. Below that, it's the back, translation and full or partial Kana readings. You don't necessarily need to give the readings, for the whole sentence. Just give the readings you need, as what's what they call it, super memo, the minimum information principle. And it's like, tiny time, I wanna go home. Okay. That is, and here is yet another example of a bilingual sentence card. I'm hitting you with these like hard and fast. Can you see? I hope this is focusing right. Can you see the top? We have what do we have at the top? An actual Japanese sentence. Surprise, surprise. And at the bottom we have full or partial Kana readings. It turns out this whole sentence is in Kana, so you don't need the readings for it. And it's all sa dosuru. Let's deal with that. What you gonna do? Another I'm not kidding you, dude. Another example of a bilingual sentence card. It's like de, and so and so you see, you can get really short with these, as that's a full phrase or a sentence in Japanese, so it's all good. A word about sentences. The delete button is your friend. If in doubt, throw it out. Basically, is the idea. You can chuck in whatever you want into the SRS, but feel free or even freer to chuck it out as soon as even if you think, oh, I really should know this, or it's good to know. Of course, especially when you're beginning, you hardly know any Japanese, so everything is information to you, and everything seems equally deserving of being learned. And well, I'm going to. There's my time box. I submit to you that the criteria for what, basically the criterion for what constitutes basically something deserving to be put into your SRS is not whether it's quote unquote good for you, but whether you care, and not just care in the sense of I should, but care in like, oh my gosh, I really want this. So let's think with this. Just think with and just simple arithmetic. Basically, there's the cost of adding a sentence called A, and the value you're going to get from the sentence, we'll call it B. So B, which is the value, minus A, the cost. If that's not really big and positive, then you don't need to add the sentence. And cost isn't just the time; it's also the effort. And so if it's boring you, by definition, it's of no value. Seriously, run with that. I know this scares many people. Like, but if but I need to be bored. That's how I learn. It's like, no, friend. Just seriously, use you're fun as what, as an heuristic? Is that even the correct use of that word? As a guide, you know, basically. And you'll surprise yourself. You know, the only thing I say is, you know, be sure to have it in Japanese. But if it's not fun, no matter how good for you it is, just, you know, don't do it. That's it. This is a self-directed project. There's no one to beat or, you know, threaten you into doing this, and therefore you need to make it so the project itself, the learning Japanese itself, needs to be something that pulls you in. Learning itself must be so much fun that you're drawn to it. It has to draw you in. You know, you're doing your part by saying, okay, I'm doing stuff, you know, it's in Japanese. But anything above and beyond that is actually, it's the duty of the responsibility of the media itself to entertain you. So, you know, whatever book you're reading, whatever little, you know, sentence source you're using, whatever it is, if you're bored, let go. Really let go. Delete button is your friend. Okay. The second part of the sentence phase is monolingual sentences. That is sentences, sentence cards where both the front and the back are in Japanese. There's no recourse to English. This is something you want to get to as soon as you can. And the process is the same basically as for bilingual cards, except, you know, of course, the format of the card changes, and so, and maybe your sources do too. So on the back of the card, basically, instead of readings and a translation, instead of Kana readings and Kana readings, well, really readings of the kanji that are in Kana. Anyway, whatever. And instead of readings and translation, you have readings and definitions from a monolingual dictionary. And, you know, I have articles on how to make that transition smoothly. But basically, I'll tell you now. I'm spoiler. The main article on how to make the transition smoothly from bilingual sentences to bilingual sentence cards to monolingual sentence cards. The key with that is basically to look up stuff you already know in the monolingual dictionary. You get a Japanese dictionary and look up words you already know. It's like, yeah, as someone said, it's like using the dictionary backwards. You know, using it to look up words you already know. So you in order to learn the definition, in order to learn how to use Japanese to describe Japanese. It's really powerful. I don't know how much more I suck at explaining stuff. I don't know if you realize this watching this video, but I really do. And so I don't know how quite to get across how amazing it is that you're self-hosting. As a geek once emailed me, you're using Japanese to learn Japanese. It's like this chemical reaction where the products are the reactants or the products type thing. It's this endless cycle of more and more better. You get better Japanese through Japanese. It's cool, you know. Anyway, I'm just going to show you the monolingual sentence card. Here we go. Boom. For convenience, I've used. I don't know how to straighten this thing. Okay, I think we're good. Oh, there we go. For convenience, I used the same sentence as we had with in one of the bilingual examples. You don't necessarily have to go through all your old sentences and convert them to monolingual. It's that just sounds like work. And in the front you have the sentence "Korosu," and at the back is monolingual dictionary definitions. Korosu, shirotoru. Is the deal with that, and any contextual info you need, etc. Hyperlinks if you want, whatever you want. Still do too much work, Just do minimum you need. That is a monolingual sentence card. Here is another example of a monolingual sentence card. Oh no, sorry, I'm gonna straighten that. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Let's hit the mic deal. Front, Japanese sentence. Back, dictionary definitions, monolingual dictionary definitions, contextual info if applicable. So if you got it from like a website, you can have the paragraph in which you can have this phrase or sentence at the front as the front of the card. At the back, you can put the paragraph from which the sentence came, whatever works for you, whatever works and isn't work, if that makes sense. Second example of monolingual sentence card. And another type of card you can do, generally you want phrases, sentences, phrases, whatever. But another type of card I do quite a lot, especially with due to the nature of Japanese names, is actually a proper noun card. So I do, personal and place names. So here we have, Tanaka Taro, pretty John Smith type name, and a name so common no one uses it anymore. And at the back you have full or partial readings in Kana. What's the deal with that? I'm getting better at this clipboard thing like that. I'm holding it straight now, I think. Someone compliment me. Okay, and we, my friends, are done. We really are. That's it. That's the end of the video. I have rambled to the ends of rambling. You've changed your beliefs. You've Japanized your life. I read from a sheet. So now you're wondering, but when do I get really good? When do I get fluent? To be completely honest, I don't know actually, but we can have. I really don't. But based on my experience, we can have some rough metrics for you. Listening, you want to listen to about 10,000 hours of Japanese. I count sleeping, I count sleeping, music, everything counts. I count everything as part of the 10,000. That's just how I roll. So 10,000 hours of Japanese. When you're in the car playing Japanese, whatever. Walking, listening to it. You're cooking in the kitchen, the Japanese playing. That all counts as part of your 10,000 hours. And I count sleeping too. If you can sleep with music on. If not, oh yeah, one cool thing. As an AJATT, a guy who does AJATT suggested once was putting headphones under your pillow and have those under Japanese playing through those. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so the SRS you want, I say 10,000 sentences, just a rough metric, maybe 50,000 repetitions, reading 1,000,000 words. I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers. Kanji, 3,000 plus characters, 12,000 plus reps. The thing about these numbers is not to get obsessed too much with them, because what happens is, not because that isn't inherently a bad thing. It's true. Well, it is true. Whatever gets measured gets sorry about the time. Whatever gets measured gets improved, and that's a good thing. That's also a problem. So you need to be careful what you measure, right? I think I'm quoting Paul Graham right now, because if what you measure starts to hurt you, that's not what you want. So if you get so obsessed with just getting to 10,000 sentences, you'll do anything, including having boring sentences and not deleting stuff. That's going the wrong way, I think. The numbers are just rough, guys, and what I think the most valuable thing numbers do is they give you. I don't really shoot for numbers a lot. I have tried shooting for numbers before, and it wasn't really fun actually. Sometimes you need to go against the numbers a bit for a while. So for example, if you delete lots of crappy cards, your number of cards you have is going to go down. Sentence cards you have is going to go down, and you're going to be like, oh, it's going to seem like you're doing, not as well, but actually you're doing much better. In the long run, you're going to, first of all, in the long run, you're going to have more cards because you're going to continue doing Japanese because it's fun. What am I trying to say? So basically, the numbers are great. They give you a sense of something concrete. You feel you have traction. You feel like you're going somewhere. Because especially when you're alone, there's no one to say, oh, you're in, you're a second year student now. You're in level 2 now. Or you're in level 3. There's no one to tell you, hey, even. You're this. There's no one to give you this framework, and that can leave a lot of people feeling lost, which is quite a natural thing. So what I'm trying to say is that the numbers are nice because they give you something concrete to look at, and what they also do is the most valuable characteristic of these metrics, of these metric guides, is that you it gives you a reality check, you know. So when you're feeling bad, you're like, oh man, I've been doing it, you know, I've been doing Japanese X, you know, X number of months, and I'm just not feeling it. What the heck? You can look at your statistics and see just how far they are from actually where you're trying to be, and you know, that's like, oh well, you know, of course I suck. My stats still suck, you know. So in that sense, they're valuable, and mostly in that sense, really. Not as goals, but as guides, as reference points, really. Reference points. That's what it is. Yeah. And that's basically it from me. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much. Thanks for buying this. Thanks for watching it. Really, thanks a lot. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you on the site. Look forward to, you know, stuff. I don't know, stuff. Yeah, but anyway, thank you very much, and I hope this is useful to you. If you have any, you know, questions, comments, especially feedback about this, feel free to email me. I'd love to hear what you think. You know, what was good, what was bad, what you would change if you could change one thing, stuff like that. Anyway, thanks very much.